Hi, this is Liz Janowski, and I wanted to make a follow-up video to my thoughts on relationship and relating and so many of the just unrealistic pressures that we put on relationship. And I want to say this as a person who has been married for 12 years, hopes to be married to my husband for the rest of my life, and was married before in a union that didn't last, obviously, and has explored all kinds of different relating perspectives, long term relationships, things, creative relating strategies, hasn't always had it easy, definitely expects to not always have it easy, and is not coming into this from a Pollyanna perspective, even though I might have had that at certain places in my life. So I want to talk about something that I've been thinking a lot about, which is really, I feel like, how to make it in make your relationship last for a long time, like really how to kind of set the framework internally of how a relationship can really last. And to me, it's anticipating deaths in your relationship, deaths of the idea of different phases of your relationship. So I'm calling this the three deaths in your relationship, and maybe there's many more. I'm only 12 years in, so maybe there's like 20 deaths in your relationship. But I will say, in this place of 12 years in, which to me felt like quite the triumph to be 12 years in, deaths in your relationship. So I see this, while it might sound really negative, as actually a really positive thing, because I think that when we hit these death points in relationship is when people leave. And this is not to say that you should stay with people who are abusive to you, with people who have addiction issues that seem totally unmanageable, with people that are abusive to your children, with people who life path just seems so totally irreconcilable with yours. But I do think that there are many ways that our own limitations about story lead us to leave in places where we could stay and in places where partners could stay. And so I'm going to offer this idea of deaths to the story of your relationship. So I think the first one, and I think that there's kind of a general consensus in the world about this death, is the death of the romantic part of your relationship. And this doesn't mean these things can't be resuscitated or don't come back. And trust me, you can spend a lot of money on coaches and therapists who will help you resuscitate these things. But I think that there is a death for the kind of romantic idea of your relationship, the romantic comedy, holding hands, running around, having picnics in the park part of your relationship. And I think each one of these things is necessary to build the relationship. Like, I actually don't think people would get married or enter into long-term partnership if you didn't have that sort of butterflies in the stomach, making out in the corner of the restaurant, wanting to stand up there and pledge your life to each other part of your relationship. You probably wouldn't be in relationship. This is a very necessary kind of glue that brings relationship together. I also think it's necessary for this part to go through a death. It doesn't mean that this part can't come back to life, maybe many times, and maybe die again many times, but I think this is sort of the youthful part of relationship. And if you expect this part to always be there, like, we'll always have super sexy date nights and I'll always be super into you, I think that there's a naivete there that traps your partner and yourself in a place that makes it difficult for you to grow. And the reason I think there's deaths in relationship is because there are two people in your relationship who are individuals who are living and need to grow and change. And I think one of the biggest things that makes it people get very challenged by is that your partner is an individual that's separate from you on a life path that is separate from your life path, and they are going to do things that you don't expect. And they may be things you didn't agree to in advance. And you're going to do things they didn't agree to in advance too. And you're going to be different than the person they married. And that might really hurt. And you might really hurt them by being different than the person that they married. So, romantic part of the relationship, I think, is a childlike, wonder filled innocent part of your relationship that I think can die and maybe come back to life, but can also die. Like a death. The death of the friendship part of your relationship. So one of the things that I see die, and I actually find kind of nauseating when people talk about it in their wedding vows, though everyone does, and I did myself, is the I married my best friend, or this is my best friend. And what I would say to that is please get friends that aren't your partner or your spouse. It is so awesome if they're your friend and you like to do things with them, but you need another best friend and they need another best friend. And you need like 5 best friends and they need like 5 best friends. And everyone needs people to do things with that aren't your partner, because your partner has to serve a lot of other needs, like provider, co-parent, possibly, life partner, person that goes to holidays with you, partner that decides about big life decisions, person who goes on trips with you, person who is going to care for you when you're ill. They don't also need to be your best friend. They can be your sexual partner. Putting the idea that you should be very best friends and besties all the time and like text each other every 5 minutes, I think is putting that person in a limiting framework. And also it's limiting yourself. Don't you want to have other friends? Having other friends is a strong way to build your social network and be a happier person in life. So let your partner be a friend and let them have other friends and let yourself have other friends, and you will be a happier, stronger person. This idea that you're marrying your best friend is a very popular idea right now, and I think it's a fair idea. And I also think it, first of all, limits the sexual polarity in your relationship. I think it limits you to feeling like this person is almost like, it's almost like an adolescent phase. Like now you're sort of, instead of you're sort of, I don't know, infantilizing your partner in some way that they should want to, like, I don't know, do face masks and watch movies with you. And maybe that is the relationship you have, and that's super fun. And also, this person is a different person from you, a separate individual with a different life path from you that should be allowed to pursue that life path in a different way than you. They don't need to like everything you like, and you don't need to like everything they like. You don't need to have the same viewing habits, reading lists, activities, sports, interests. So I think that one, when I see that one go, I see a lot of people also break up, because it's like, you're not my best friend. We don't like the same things. We don't want to go on the same trips. We don't, oh my God. Okay, great. A partnership, a life partnership, a marriage is different than a best friend. And I think having solid, wonderful friendships outside of your relationship is going to make you and them a happier person. If you get through that, that one can really break a lot of hearts. I think everybody will be stronger and better. And then be friends with them. Go on dates with them. Have romantic interludes. Have fun, but maybe not every single trip you need to do with them. Maybe not every single movie you go to is with them. Maybe not, you don't read the exact same books and gossip about the same people. I mean, get some other friends and allow them to do that as well. Number 3, and I think this is another really challenging death, is the death of the idea of the couple itself. So it's a very popular idea that the couple supersedes the individual, that the couple takes over the individual, that there are no more individuals, like the yin yang. The couple has been taken over. Sorry, this piece of lint. The couple has superseded the individual. There's no more individual to become when to become one. You know, the Backstreet Boys song, or maybe it was NSYNC or 98 Degrees. Anyways, this idea that this couple has superseded individual. Yeah, in some ways it has. Like when you made a child, or when you bought a house and you signed your name onto the deed of that house or the mortgage. But there's still 2 individuals with 2 separate life paths who've decided to collaborate on many things inside of this relationship unit. And when I see the couple death, what the friction there is that your partner may be moving towards a goal that they didn't originally state to you, and you may be moving to a goal that you didn't originally work out with them. And the speed that you may be moving may be different. And the stated goals may be different. And they may be in a process of discovery that changes things. And you be in a process of discovery that changes things. And you may be moving at a very slow speed and they may be moving very quickly. And they may need some time and space to discover what they're thinking and feeling, and you may need time and space to think and discover what's going on for you. And the very idea, I think, of the couple needs to die and burn and be washed away and be reborn again many times. And there might be a time when the idea of the couple dies and burns and you're in deep grief for a long time. You think, I don't even like this person. I don't even know what team we're on. And then you can find each other again and maybe find a new foundation for the couple to exist in. But there will always still be two individuals inside of this relationship moving on separate paths that may intersect and cross. Hopefully there's some hand holding and some love and some compassion and empathy for one another. And what I like to say is inside a relationship, the metaphor I like to use is it's like the sea. You can see the horizon, and ideally you're both moving towards a shared horizon, but there's a lot of waves and you're in two separate boats. And sometimes the boats are really close and united and you're holding hands and you can even tie the boats together. And sometimes the boats need to be in like two separate courses, but you're moving towards the same horizon. And this idea that we're best friends who are constantly making out at picnics together and we're in the same boat all the time, I think is a setup for total failure. And that may sound like terribly unromantic. Maybe you want to call me and worry about me and to save my marriage, and that's totally fine. But I actually think that the idea that you're two separate individuals who have your eye on the same horizon and continuously choosing to have your eye on the same horizon while moving through waves and throwing help and assistance to each other and hand holding and empathy is incredibly romantic. And is romance really the only goal of relationship? What about intellectual companionship, empathy, care, support, protection? You know, there's just so much more besides best friends who make out and are on the same team. So these are ways I think that we've really hurt each other by having these strange small frameworks for what partnership should be. So I don't think my comments are probably worth all that much. Probably two people will watch this video anyways, but those are my thoughts on relationship. Everybody, the 3 deaths. Probably there's like 33. So I'll update when I have more thoughts on that. Bye.